So where should we start? Run the boys.
Fear in my mind is a warning. Pray to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. I tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. Try to get by, but I'm burning.
Yeah.
Actually, from the start, why are we running?
Why are you running?
Yeah, why are we running the marathon?
Well.
For what cause? Is what I mean.
Right. Yeah. I'd like to say it depends how deep it really is, but I'm running the marathon because originally the person that's it's got me into running.
Yeah.
Basically has a charity and has ran, I would say hundreds of marathons, but maybe not yet, but like loads of marathons.
A lot.
And yeah, you and me obviously had the opportunity because we're close friends with him now to do London. So
Yeah. Yeah, and we met him. Well, I met him properly in London. In Barcelona.
Yeah,
like the first time I properly.
I
obviously knew Mehdi. Yeah. Well, it's Mehdi that runs for JDRF now, Breakthrough T1D.
Yeah.
And yeah, I first properly spoke to him about it in Barcelona after Barcelona Marathon, and yeah, spoke to him, Sakina, and a few of the others about Lily about type 1 and all that stuff.
Yeah, and obviously Dave was there.
Yeah, who's going to be doing London as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and it's just a good story of finding out his why and how deeply someone's reason can be for running.
Yeah, so like on that with obviously why we're doing it is like there's another thing that I always think it's like everyone always has a reason for doing marathons or doing things in general, but like I always like Sonder, you know, when people are getting on with their life, you don't really know, but like that's like an even deeper level within like the marathon is like everyone's got their own like Sonder, haven't they? Because you could ask literally like two different people and there's like
completely different. They
can be miles apart. The reason why they're doing it, but they're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
you
true.
can be so far apart but so similar.
Yeah,
which I think is quite cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think personally, anyway, I don't know what you think, but I think I not try harder, but have more strength to try harder if it's got other people involved.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Like Mercia for me was like I just thought about everyone at Run Club and like all the stuff we had done before that.
Yeah.
Like all the running we've done together and me and you. And that's like the strength to carry on. And I think that's similar this time round of like, we're going to be like, it's so much bigger than that, than just the run.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Like all the stuff that's happened before.
Yeah, this one in a way, it's like we've been like relatively chill about it for what it is. But when you actually deep like everything about it, it's, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but it's quite like, you know, it is the world's biggest marathon.
It will be on the day,
There's
yeah,
like
100.
Obviously, we as a collective have got a bigger group of, you know, people that would support us, people that do everything. So it's not, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but you know, there's a lot that and we haven't actually really made, like, I've never actually thought about that till now, actually talking about it, because we never really properly talk about it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a big point, yeah.
True.
I think it's one of them things that on the day, I definitely think about, and you're the same, like during the race, those are the things that are going through your head. Like you'll obviously be thinking about fatigue and stuff like that creep in, but the main thing that we all go back to is like the why and the people and the bigger picture. And I think that's, this one is definitely even going to be bigger than the others, to be honest.
Yeah.
For me anyway. And you?
100%.
Well, let's talk about training. We
Yeah.
don't often talk about splits and
Yeah.
sessions specifically, but how has training been for you?
Yeah, for me, I'd say when, like, obviously coming out of Amsterdam, then having like a gap, having Christmas and stuff like that, it's always hard to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But I think with one of those things, like Rome wasn't built in a day. You won't see progress in like a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month.
Yeah.
But then you stick at it, and you sort of notice it all slowly coming together. And I think that's like not even maybe only the past 3 weeks. That's when I've finally realised like all the puzzles sort of going into place, which is. But the majority of the time, yeah, it has been like, especially just working like full time and just trying to have a life as well. It's to fit all that in, and obviously, I get like a lot of people do it, but it just depends how intense you want to do it as well.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you, and then people that don't really do it, when they then do it, they then sort of realise, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a lot to it. But yeah, all in all, it's been good.
Yeah. I agree on that. You kind of like get into a block or a build and feel like, and people that have run marathons will know this, but people that haven't might also feel this, is like one day you feel like you can run as fast as anyone and you're really good at running.
Yeah.
And then the next it feels like you're struggling, and that's like getting back into a build after you've previously done quite well or like been really fit.
Yeah.
You don't go back to square one, but you're building again. And I felt
Exactly,
that
yeah.
massively. Like, and in the last month or so, sort of being able to be consistent has made me I've felt good now, rather than before I was like on and off, and 1 week be like feel really good and then the next not be so good, whereas like I feel like I've strung a good month together. But yeah, we don't always talk about that stuff, like the specific sessions, but I just think the consistency of it doesn't matter the pace.
Yeah, so in a way, it's like the small, just the tiny. Well, a lot of people say this, but like the 1% every time.
Yeah.
As opposed to the 20% where you think like, whoa, that was crazy what I just done, but then you then got to recover for like a week or so. If you slowly just build it where you can continue to do that day in, day out. Yeah. It has a way better long-term effect than the bigger sessions where it's like you then not doing anything for 3 or 4 days after.
Yeah. I think that's important for any level. Like people can be very specific about, I'm running this pace and how fast this was or whatever. But for everyone, that is how it is. It's just wherever you're at, it's the little things that you can do, and you just stack and stack and stack. And then we said earlier about you then get to 15 weeks training. Yeah. And you're like, flipping no, I'm doing well. I feel good compared to where the first week was. And it's just good to see that progress.
Yeah, true.
What else should we talk about? The feelings that you have about the marathon, what your...
Yeah, I'd say like the feelings that we have now, like what we know the feeling is during potential.
All right.
And then obviously after. Yeah. You can lead that one.
Yeah. I had a really good, obviously we started, my PB was our first marathon, and that's the best I've felt, honestly, in a year or since then. And I think I changed my mindset on running massively for the 2 marathons after that. And now we're about to do the 4th one. It's like I'm back to that. Yeah. Because I very much thought that the 2nd and 3rd marathons should then be easy. And I was stood on the start line thinking, I've done this before, so I'll be all right. When it's like, you're never... in a good way, it shouldn't be all right, because if you're trying to go for a time, or if you're doing it for the first time or whatever, you're trying to do something hard, so it should be hard. And I was just kind of like, them 2 races I blew up, and mentally in one of them I was just like Amsterdam, I was gone mentally before I was physically. 100%. But that was because I stood on the start line thinking this is going to be easy because I've done it before. But everything's different, every race is different, and this time round, I know I'm going to stand on the start line, and a marathon's hard. No matter how many times you do it, no matter how many weeks of training you put in, it's never going to be easy. No. And if you expect it to be easy and it's not, it's a shock. Whereas this time round, I'm going to be sitting there knowing it's going to be hard and looking forward to it being hard. Yeah. And that's the whole point. I've trained for 16 weeks for that. So I'm ready for that to be hard, rather than being like, yeah, I'll be all right.
Yeah, it's more of that thing of like the sort of understanding of the difficulty that it will be, in as opposed to, you know, there's two different ways. You, like you say, you can stand on the start line knowing it will be hard, but you can there's sort of two ways of feeling that, knowing it's about to be a challenge and that you're going to look and overcome it.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
as opposed to you can potentially work yourself up so much that it's
scared.
a whole fear, and then the whole thing you're not enjoying, because at the end of the day, it's going to be hard. It's got to be hard, and it will be hard. But like, you've got to still try and enjoy it and see the bright out of every part.
Yeah.
Not necessarily always just at the end.
Yeah. What's your feelings around it? What's your thoughts? Obviously, you have done some very fast times.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I've been. Yeah, it's one of those things. I didn't want to give myself a lot of like pressure for this one.
Yeah.
Which I still don't. I still don't really think I have. Like, I'm happy. I'm happy with like the sort of paces I'm running at. And holding those paces seem good. And it's always a thing, you have that, like, sometimes when you're training or whatever, you have that fear of like you're running at race pace,
and it feels
you're really struggling, but not one to like make excuses, but there's just so many variables in it. You know, you could come out straight out of like, you know, I'll do a long run after like, not that it's loads, but like 60k, 65k, and then go do a 30k after, and that'll be the last workout of the week, which that would then be the hardest.
Yeah.
Also, where we train, there's a lot of hills, stuff like that. So your body's on a constant, like, it's still recovering. Whereas when I always like, I never used to believe it, but when you come into it, you taper, you deload, and then it feels a bit like magical in a sense, where it's like your body just feels. And then obviously you've got adrenaline, you've got crowd, you've got everything. So it's one of those things where like 9 times out of 10 or 99% of the time, you always feel better on the day, no matter the lead up.
Yeah, I think that's
no matter what.
I think that's a massive thing that if people haven't raced before, you might hear about. But
yeah,
in training, when it gets hard, you have to remember that you are fatigued and you're going to feel your best if you taper right and do everything right and eat well and recover properly. Race day is your best day. That's the first time you're going to be fresh in 16
So
minutes.
true, yeah, exactly. And yeah,
you get used to being fatigued all the time, but then that is the day that, like, we're tapering now. We've just been to the sauna and stuff, and ice bath to do recovery, and it's like we're doing all the right things now to then step onto that start line, and we're going to be ready. And you have to remember that, and you start to like have weird doubts of like, oh, have I done enough? But it's like you have,
and
you're
it's
going to feel good.
It's just totally different. Like you haven't done probably well unless you've done a training race through the build.
Yeah.
You haven't ran anywhere where you've at times are getting tough and there's just people screaming, shouting, or just different things to look at.
Yeah.
Your surrounding and your body, like you said, you're running at a pace you never have because you're doing a race pace. Well, your body's never felt that before until that. Now you've recovered, then you've still got to run that pace. So it's always light at the end of the tunnel with that one.
Yeah. I think that's a good lead on to the next thing of like the fact that it's London, the big one.
Exactly, yeah.
Like we've done, so for some context, we've done Murcia, we've done Barcelona and Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Murcia first one, like felt like the atmosphere was really good.
Yeah,
but now
that's all we knew.
Yeah,
so it's one of them.
Barcelona was then a step up from that.
Yeah.
Amsterdam, I didn't think there was any atmosphere whatsoever.
No, yeah. So I think with Amsterdam, but then, it was. It's a good marathon. It's flat. Everything about it's like relatively good.
Cool city to run in.
Yeah, exactly. But it's I think also because we were so early into marathons, like we done Murcia February, Barcelona literally the month after.
Yeah.
And I think Barcelona is probably, well, when you look at a lot of them, that's a very lively marathon to be doing. So like, it's sort of one of those things when you do something straight away, your expectations are already high, and then you're always comparing it to that. But obviously this will be, we say that, but this will probably be, ridiculous. Well, it will be. Everyone I've spoke to, everything I've seen is just...
I spoke to Jim on Insta the other day about it, and he said like he's excited for us to see what that'll be like.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because we've kind of cheered each other on in races before.
Yeah.
And that will be like that times 100. And obviously we've got people coming up, which will be like so good. Obviously normally we go away and everyone's racing.
Yeah.
But this time it's just
Just
us
me
two
and you,
the
yeah.
boys. Well, from Run Club, it's just sort of a few of us. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be so cool, like seeing everyone in the crowd. That's like what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to like just everything in general, because it's like, in a way, well, they do call it that, but in a way it would be like as if you're going to like a festival and you just see really weird stuff and you're like, you can't really work it out, but you're like,
Yeah.
that's just because it's the marathon.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's normalised, but it's just going to be really exciting. There'll be so many
Yeah.
different things to be seeing, and also that will then help with just not taking your mind off the running, but just elsewhere. And
Yeah, you're not worrying about little things that's what I mean. Amsterdam for me was like
Yeah.
silence for like
well, that lake,
10K.
there's a lake bit, you have a crosswind,
Yeah.
so you're never into or downwind.
No. And
I
it just
think
felt
that's
like everything.
Yeah.
Like I would get into a rhythm and then there was a drink station and then it would just be silent for like 5 minutes. I couldn't get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And no one was
Then you go
cheering.
through like a lane for a few K,
Yeah, it was
and then
weird.
that lake was like just wind in your ears for 16K up and down. But
Yeah, this one is the big atmosphere. This is the one everyone talks about. So
yeah,
that's kind of like where my mind is like you said, no pressure. You've done the work. Like we'll just see now and
Yeah,
enjoy
just-
them.
just let your body recover, do the work.
Yeah.
You know, we've done all the running, the mental strength's there. So you just got to wait for the day, really. And
Yeah. And when that tough time comes, see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we can go on to.
What about like fueling strat, or like just like what we're going to be having during, or like
Yeah, I think
how
what-
you felt prior, what you think you'll do differently.
Yeah, because that fits into. We can talk about shoes and all that. Let's just talk about that sort of stuff. I might be interested in that.
Yeah, my first shoes were Saucony Endorphin Elites, so I wore them my first 2 marathons. In all honesty, I didn't really know a lot about shoes, but I watched a lot of videos and stuff about it, and I think they were relatively new.
At the time, I think.
Yeah,
they
and
were.
still,
Not a lot of
they're
people
actually
wore them
still
at the
quite a
time.
rare shoe to be.
Yeah,
like, I
no.
never really see a lot of people knocking about in them. But yeah, they were great, really good. I actually used to like still wear them this year for like some fast sessions and stuff like that. They're still relatively good. And then I bought the Alpha Flies for Amsterdam. They're amazing. Like literally what everyone says is pretty true.
Yeah, agreed.
And I got Pro 4s. I didn't get on amazingly well with them, but I think they deserve another chance just because I think that it's a bit of me,
Yeah.
my body, and them. But obviously not to change anything, I'm probably going to wear the Alpha Flies for London.
What gels and stuff?
So gels,
Both the same on that.
yeah, gels recently been taking Morton's and the gel 100s, Morton caffeine 100s. Originally I used to have Goo, the Roctane ones, and they were just like, that's basically, they put like a roast in it, just
Yeah.
straight in there.
Heavy.
But it did have everything. I just like the fact of how much sodium was in it, everything like that. But now I think I understand like hydrating, fueling, everything a bit better.
Yeah, well.
I tried the Mortons, and that's just so clean on my stomach. Everything, like, you don't have to, if you didn't want to, you don't have to eat before or do anything. You could just have it, like, you know, I could probably have them through the day.
Yeah.
Instead of having food,
I've
and I'll be all right.
I honestly have them. I'll wake up like early doors before work, no food, no drink in the stomach.
Yeah.
Go and do like a session, and I'm like in a fast session, taking a Morton at
And it
5:30
just goes
in the morning,
and that's done.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. I know it's a bit minging, but
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
I've never had that. We kind of did the same things the whole way through our marathon.
Yeah.
And we started with goos, and I didn't even realise they had no carbs in them until about a week ago.
No, yeah, they got
And
100 calories, but
yeah.
that could be anything.
Yeah, but they're so hard to take. Whereas like the Mortons,
Yeah.
you pay for what you get, and yeah, I've been the same. They're sound on the stomach, and I feel a benefit. I never massively felt that because I could never get a goo down properly. I'd take like half a gel,
Yeah.
and then just launch it. And I think that is an important thing for anyone that's got a race coming up or hasn't quite figured that out. That is honestly, aside from your training, that's an essential.
The fueling aspect, yeah.
Like,
and
to learn
it's-
that
yeah.
throughout your training block. Like I've been doing
True.
like 10Ks and I'll just take a gel 5K through just so that I get used to taking a gel.
Yeah.
And it's been massive.
Yeah,
Like, I always
100%.
struggled, and now I feel
Yeah,
pretty good.
and I'd also say like if you eating wise, you want to obviously load a lot, carbs and stuff like that. But if you struggle to do that, then more gels during the run.
Yeah.
Because obviously you'll be using your store of carbs. But if you load it correctly, then
Yes.
you obviously still need gels, but
It's all figuring it out, and it's just something that I would have focused on earlier on if I knew more about it. Is like through training, like you're stepping up your mileage, step up your gel usage, basically. Learn how to get good at taking gels.
And like the main thing about it, which I like, is like we're still learning all that. It's not necessarily. We're never like telling anyone, even if people are asked, we'll say how we do it, and we won't tell anyone to do it.
100%.
And we'll say what we've learned, what we think's best, but everyone's body's still totally different.
So
and
different.
It's like, it is one of those things where you can listen to so much and just get so worked up on everything, but you don't actually know till you just do it yourself. It's one of those things, that's the glory of running. You can train, you can do everything, but everyone's body's different. And you, at the end of the day, it's your journey. And that's the best thing about it. It's as much as it can be a group thing, it's also an individual thing to just learn yourself
100%. And
physically, mentally, and everything, really.
Everyone is so different on that in anything, and I think that's important, like for us to say, of like, we don't know everything. No. We don't know anything really. No. We know what works for us.
Well, we've been like marathon running less than 2 years, so it's like
but like it's like that thing of like, I don't know anything apart from the fact that like I'm gonna figure it out, basically. Like I'm like getting to where I kind of know what works for me, but there's still a random run. I'll be like, oh, that's definitely not worked. You're the same, but we started very much like, oh, I've seen this, we should do this.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's also another thing. It's like you see so much that it becomes like a comparison, and then you try to start doing it when that necessarily might not work for you, might not be your it might not be for you. But and then you don't really, like you know, while you're building or doing a block, you try that, and then it might like knock you back just because you're the way someone else is doing it, and you try doing it and it's not working. You think, oh well, but sometimes it is just like, so that person might be like, well, that's a weird way of doing it, or that, but then
100%.
yourself.
I think that's a good example. We're best mates, and like, just even thinking off the top of my head, it's like the way we take gels. You neck a gel down in a second. And I'll take like a little bit. I'll carry my gel for like 500 meters a K. Nearly, and just sort of like get it down as and when. And I'm fine with that. And you like that. That's how different everything can be. We train together. We are best mates. We like a lot of the same things. But when it comes to running, you're not.
No.
Everyone's body's different. Everyone's different. So that's important to remember.
Yeah, that's true.
But for me, I'm Alpha Flies as well. I was literally about 5 minutes before this looking at getting the Pro 4s. But just the sizing on those, I've wore the Pro 3s for Murcia and Barcelona, actually. Did I? Yeah. And they're just, in a size 8, which is like my size, they just don't fit. And a size 8.5 I've always sort of felt too big. Just tried a 9 on in the Pro 4s, and they fit. But I'm just going to stick to what I know. I've wore the Alpha Flies in a couple of races. Did I wear them in a marathon? Yeah, I wore them in Amsterdam, and then I've wore them in a half. No, I haven't.
No, 10K,
And they're good. They feel very good. They're like, compared to any other race day shoe, the most comfortable and responsive that I've tried personally. Yeah,
shoe sizing is crazy at the moment. It's like, I've got a pair of 8s, 9s, 9.5s.
But that's the same foot. I've got, that's true. I've got 7, my Alpha Flies at 7.5. My Pro 4's at 8s, too small. Probably need 8.5, and some of my others are a bit bigger. But in terms of fueling, I'm not going to take any caffeine gels. I don't really love taking caffeine gels. So I'm going to stick to just gel 100s. And then, I don't know if you mentioned it, but electrolytes before, I'll be using the Pure Sport. Obviously. I'll be using the Pure Sport Ultra electrolytes, and you'll probably be using...
I've been using the Cadence ones at the moment. Obviously they have like a sleep one. It's just got magnesium and less sodium in, but probably the core ones, it's 500 milligrams in it, so that should be perfect.
But onto the gear. That's gear all sorted. What should we...
David's about to come in a minute, anyway.
Is he?
Yeah, your dentist just dropped him off. So.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
My dad's about to arrive. I reckon we talk about this week, and then that's it then.
Yeah, cool.
What we're going to do this week.
Oh, jeez. What's that? A hat? Oh,
but you got a label sticking out. We're filming
We're shooting a quick vid.
So just don't come in.
No farting.
This week, what is the crack this week? What's the focus this week? I I think we speak physically, mentally, and just like vibes wise. What are we saying this week?
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Got a message.
No, I was just got my video too. Yeah.
So start with what is training like this week? What is
Yeah.
our training like this week?
Well, yeah, this week's been okay. It's still been relatively hard. It's just less load, so it's.
Yeah.
I'm probably I'll go on like a nice easy tomorrow, just like, cause sometimes I find just moving the legs is always good, even though it's nothing strenuous. Because sometimes if you just sat there for like 3 or 4 days straight, it's just, I feel like you seize up when you've been like, it's sort of like, I like to compare it to like an engine in a car, you know, when it's working often, it's really efficient. But, you know, if you haven't started your car in a while, it takes a while to turn over, you know.
Alfalfa or whatever.
But yeah, so a few sessions, few speed sessions, couple, I wouldn't say long runs, but a couple runs, 10, 12, 13. And then, then the next week just got just like a small race pace.
Fartlek, isn't it?
Fartlek, yeah. And then I'll do a nice easy run. Then we'll do a shakeout.
Yeah.
And then, race day.
Same for me, really. I just want to keep ticking over.
Yeah.
We'll do Run Club Monday. So that'll be 3.
Yeah.
Which is when we're going to do our fartlek, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So get
After
done early.
and then we'll go Wednesday Run Club, which will be nice and easy and light.
Mm-hmm.
And then just tick over into the weekend. But vibes wise, or like thoughts, what's the focus this week? What are you going to be thinking about during the race, like in going into the race week?
Yeah, so vibes wise, I'm feeling good about it. Really good. Obviously I've looked at the weather, so the weather's looking alright, because we had that 2-week bit of like where it was really hot, especially London. London was boiling.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be like 13, 14 degrees, so it isn't too bad, which is always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have that thing where like, you go to bed at night and you just sort of, you're thinking about, you're putting it all through your head of what's happening, what it's going to be like, and then you see yourself and, but it's nothing like crazy. Although we haven't done loads, done a few before, you know how to feel, so you're not as bad. And it's one of those things where it's like, either way you're going to enjoy it, just the place, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But yeah, very positive. I haven't really given myself, like I said, too much pressure for this one.
I think that's massive this week, of like, in the lead up, you can definitely overthink it.
Yeah.
And like, think your way through the race and either do a good way, like in a positive way, or a negative way.
Yeah, true.
And I think the key for me is just going to be, like I said earlier, knowing that it's going to be hard, but being positive about it, and knowing that when it gets hard, I'm ready for that, rather than thinking, oh, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this as easy as possible throughout the race. Like, that's not really the point of it.
No.
It's going to be hard, but we're ready for it. But yeah, I'll be the same. I'll probably think about it every night this week.
Every night this week,
Or
and then
next
think
week,
about what pasta or pizza I'm going to be eating.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And bread. So.
Yeah, just a lot of food.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we might go for food with the boys, a few of the boys on Wednesday.
Yep.
And then that's us really. We're going to head up to London on Friday.
Yeah, Friday morning, probably go to the expo early. And then we got a couple sort of like mini events that we're going to over the weekend.
Yeah.
And then Sunday's the day. And then we celebrate. Well, Sunday is a celebrate, but...
Yeah, then we celebrate through the race and afterwards.
Exactly.
Everything that's gone on. But yeah, that's a little recap of training and insight into like what we're going to do. We never get too specific on like levels of running or paces or anything like that. It's so individual, and I think the thing that can be copied across every sort of level is your mindset and how it is, and little tips to do, and I think that's what we said most through that. So yeah.
Yep, exactly, man.
We'll see you in London.
See you in London.
Sure.